Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Last segment of this Wednesday edition of Focal Point. Let's go right to the phones. I promised you the last 3 of the top 8 lies from the debate last night. I will give those to you, so hang tight. We'll take a couple of phone calls first and get back to that. Let's go to Jimmy in Hope Mills, North Carolina. Welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind? Oh, let's go to Rick in Sioux City, Iowa. Rick, you're on Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Hey, that lady that interviewed you, she'd make a good moderator for these debates.
maybe she was auditioning. Maybe she was saying to Candy Crowley, look, you got to watch my interview with this guy today. I'm going to show you how it's done.
I think so. There's always I don't know if they're supposed to argue. Moderators are supposed to keep track of the time and ask questions, but anyway.
Well, and Rick, let me just interject here before you finish your thought. I mean, those were specifically the rules for the moderator. The moderator at that debate, I mean, it was both parties that agreed to it. She shouldn't have signed on if she wasn't willing to abide by the rules. It said the moderator is not to inject himself, is not to ask follow-up questions, not to reinterpret questions. They had a bad experience with Tom Brokaw in 2008 doing that. So she wasn't supposed to do anything of what she did last night. Anyway, go ahead and finish your thought.
I'm just, there isn't time now, but I'm wondering how these moderators are selected and why we continue to agree with somebody that isn't neutral. But the people that are still undecided, I'd like to check their pulse or to see if they've been out of the country for 4 years. You start with Obama sealing his past records right away. What does that tell you? Just a few examples. There's Sioux states that are trying to, by the law, clean up their voter rolls. They sue a sheriff in Arizona that's doing the job that they should be doing, and on and on. But just in closing, Brian, if this election's close, in my opinion, Obama will win. We don't have computer or cell phones, or we don't watch TV. So all of our news comes from AFR and from ministries that we trust, and one of them is Judicial Watch, and they're leading the way on this voter fraud deal. And the latest thing from them, you wouldn't believe the stuff that this administration is doing to steal this election. So I pray that it's not even close. God bless you, Brian. All
right. Thank you very much, Rick. And I didn't have time to play the video, but James O'Keefe did a sting, and there were a couple of Obama volunteers that actually actively helped people vote twice. I mean, an undercover journalist goes in, says, look, I live in Florida. I want to vote in Florida, and I want to vote in Texas. Can you help me? And the individual says, sure, here's how you do it. Now, those people that were busted on those undercover videos were fired, which is fine and good for them, but it's systemic. What Rick is saying is exactly right. That's why they fight all these voter IDs. 71% of Hispanics are in favor of voter ID bills. 71% of Hispanics. It's the Democrats that oppose it because they want to preserve the capacity to cheat. Let's go to Paul in Hampstead, North Carolina. Paul, you're on Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Brian, for taking my call.
Yeah, you bet.
I have a pastor friend in Florida, and it was about a month or so where he had told me of an instance, this diversity, anti-bullying initiative got going through the schools. They were having some rallies at a local university, and the man who was proceeding over that is he was recommended by the Obama administration, and he was calling out Christians, having them to stand up, and then he was ridiculing them.
Yes, I remember that.
This is about anti-bullying,
yeah.
And I guess he was leading by a bad example, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, what he was doing was giving a perfect example of what bullying looks like, what picking on somebody looks like, picking on somebody for their beliefs. This is what it looks like. This is how you bully people. I mean, he should have used that as an example what not to do, but instead he thought that was a marvelous display of tolerance.
Well, my son yesterday was they had the where they put the tape over their mouth in Right Life. That was the national. I can't remember what that's called.
Day of Truth.
Yes, my freshman son, he did that yesterday, and he actually had some people who were professing that they were Christians ridicule him because of what he was doing.
Wow.
Because of that, and saying that he was wrong, and what about those women who are raped and in those instances.
Yeah,
and,
so you get ridiculed for speaking, and then you get ridiculed for not speaking. Crazy.
Well, I told him to rejoice because, Jesus said that he's blessed when he's persecuted.
Yep, absolutely.
For his name's sake.
That's how they treated the prophets who came before you. All right, Paul, listen, thanks for the call and our commendations to your son for his courage. Let's go to Nick, last call of the hour. Nick, Plainview, Texas. Nick, you're on Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hi, Brian. It's about the debate. I listened to the debate last night, and I was just wanting to know your opinion on the last question of the night. I don't know the exact words to it, but what I got out of it was, kind of explain to the people what you've been, like the other party has talked down to you about, certain things. Could you explain to us how, they're wrong or, who you are as a candidate? And
right.
I think Mitt Romney did a really good job about answering that question. And, he went back to his background, this is who I am, I'm a Christian, I believe in the Lord and raised, in the ministry and everything. But I really don't think Obama did a very good job of answering the question. I really don't think he answered it all. I think that he did kind of what everyone's saying he's doing, going after Mitt Romney, attack. And then he went into a little campaign speech of what he's going to do. I just want to get your opinion on that and, see if I...
All right, Nick. Well, listen, I appreciate that. And I thought Governor Romney, of course, we understand the theological differences here, but Governor Romney brought God into the mix. He brought faith into the mix. He brought being a part of an active spiritual community into the mix. These are the things that he brought into the mix. There was a part in the debate where he talked about the importance. He was talking about the economy, talked about the importance of two-parent families and what that means for a child getting their foot on the first rung of the ladder of success starts with being raised in a two-parent household. And he talked about the impact, the poverty rates among children who grew up in intact two-parent households and those who grew up in single-parent households. And it's striking. 76% of kids who grow up in a single-parent household wind up in poverty. I mean, the number one cure for poverty is marriage. If a woman gets married, she immediately, 76% of single women are pulled out of poverty simply through the act of getting married to the father of their child. So good for Mitt Romney to emphasize family, good for Mitt Romney to emphasize God, good for Mitt Romney to emphasize faith, things which Barack Obama did not touch. And by the way, the atheists have their scorecard out, and they have given Mitt Romney an F. These are secularists and atheists I was talking to Alex McFarland about. Barack Obama grades out at a C, but it's interesting to me, on the government and values segment of their scorecard, the first issue is recognition of the U.S. as a secular nation. They give Barack Obama an A. They give Mitt Romney an F. So they say Barack Obama recognizes that this is a secular nation. Mitt Romney does not. So that maybe tells you all you need to know. The atheists love Barack Obama. They give him an A. They hate Mitt Romney. They give him an F. Now, here's the last three lies that President Obama told in the debate last night. He said this, talking about oil and gas: the production is up. What you are saying is just not true. Now, that's when when Mitt Romney was talking to him about the fact that oil and gas leases and permits and drilling on federal lands is way down, and that is absolutely, totally correct. In fact, a number of fact checkers have come out and verified this. Here's a piece from the National Review Online. Department of Energy, this is Obama's own resource. They indicate that oil and gas production on federal lands is down 14% from 2010 to 2011, down 14%. That's Barack Obama's own Department of Energy figures. CNN, that's the network that kicked me off their network yesterday. They referred to an Institute for Energy Research that indicates that that new leases for federal lands are down 42.4% since the last 3 years of President Bush. When it comes to drilling permits, down 37.4%. So leases are down 42%. Drilling permits are down 37% under Barack Obama. What Mitt Romney said was absolutely true. Here is lie number two. in what new ways do you intend to rectify the inequalities in the workplace, specifically regarding, this is from a questioner actually, specifically regarding females making only 72% of what their male counterparts earn? That is absolutely flatly untrue. In fact, I've got a piece here from an economist indicating that when you have a woman and a man with a similar job, similar background, similar levels of indication, the gap between them is less than 5%. That's just a bogus figure that feminists have been using for years and years and years. And what that does not take into consideration, women make 95% of what men do, same job, same education, is a lot of women prefer more flexible schedules. They will drop out of the workforce for a time in order to raise a family. They want less demanding work schedules so that they can spend more time with their kids. And the feminists do not take those differences into account. And the last lie of the 8, he did call it an act of terror. We've been over that. He absolutely did not. He did not. The referee there, our own moderator, calling out Barack Obama on that bald-faced lie. He referred to acts of terror, plural, did not refer to the takeover of the consulate, the torching of the consulate, as an act of terror. Well, that is it for today. Focal Point AFR Talk. Great to have you in the listening audience today. We'll be back tomorrow. Last word for the day, go Giants, taking on the St. Louis Cardinals, weather permitting, in St. Louis. Here's your blessing. To this end, we always pray for you that our God may make you worthy of his calling and may fulfill every resolve for good and every work of faith by his power, so that the name of our Lord Jesus may be glorified in you and you in him. Ladies and gentlemen, we are fighting a winnable war. See you tomorrow.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily